Hi, it's Danny Valencia here with MyCityNest, and today I'm going to teach you what criteria you should choose to select the right agent to sell your home. Now, for many of you out there, selling your home may be the biggest financial decision that you'll ever make, so it's so important that you do a lot of digging and a lot of homework before you even pick up the phone and call any agents to come out and do a market appraisal of your property. Now, the truth is that you may already have 3 or 4 agents in mind, and this can come from different sources. One of them could be, for example, referrals. So you may have a neighbour or a friend or a family member that recommended you to an agent, and referrals are great. You may have a lot of boards around your area, for sale boards, and that may show that a specific agent is very active. So be very careful with the boards, because it doesn't necessarily mean that the properties have actually sold. So they may have a lot of properties, but none of them sell. And even if they do have sold on the boards, it doesn't necessarily mean that they've sold the property for the most amount of money that they could have sold in the current market. So a lot of homework to do there. Another thing would be letters and leafleting. It might be that you've had a lot of letters and leaflets from a specific agent, which shows that they're proactive, and that's great. So those are the 3 sources, and there could be quite a few more to have an agent top of mind at least. Now, one of the things that I recommend to do before calling any of these agents, regardless of the source they come from, whether it's a referral, it doesn't matter, go onto their website and find out a little bit more about the individual agents themselves. Specifically, find out what kind of experience they have. How long have they been in the property industry? The reason that's so important is because I always say finding the right buyer for your home, for me, is the easy part. Now, the challenging part is actually getting it from offer to completion. Now, it might be a surprise to some of you out there that 30 or north of 30% of offers and deals actually fall through. So that's why it's so important that you have an experienced agent working for you. So find out a little bit more about them. Another thing is social media. Find out how proactive they are with social media. Do they understand the power of social media to actually sell homes? Are they embracing that? And that's something that we'll dive in a little bit more into detail further along. The third thing is look at what properties they have on the market. See how they're advertising those properties. Not necessarily how many properties they have in a specific area, because that really doesn't mean anything. What I mean is a property advertised professionally? Do they have professional photography? Is the description accurate? Is it how you feel that your property should be advertised? So those are the things you should look at. So once you've narrowed down the options and you know the agents that you're going to invite out to do a market appraisal, I have a few things here that I want to share with you. So you've narrowed down the agents. Now the question is, what criteria are you going to choose to actually select the agent and sign up with the agent and instruct them? A lot of sellers I speak to initially say that the criteria they choose is actually based on the price that they say that the property is worth, or the actual fee that the agent says that they're going to charge them. And the question I ask is, which of these 2 are actually going to make any difference to the price that the property will ultimately sell for? And it's a trick question, because the truth is none of the 2 are going to make any difference. The real question you should be asking is, what strategy the agent is going to choose to expose your property to the widest possible audience out there, number 1, because let's face it, the more you expose your property, the more viewers you're going to have. At least expose your property to the right audience. The more viewers you're going to have, and the more viewers you have to the right audience, means that you're going to have them bidding and ultimately achieving a higher price for your property. The second thing is, what negotiating skills does this agent have to ultimately, when they have that bidding or when they have those offers, how skillfully are they going to navigate to achieve the highest price for you? So those are the 2 things that I wanted to point out. Now, here are a list of things that I want to point out in terms of questions that you should be asking to find out how your agent's going to expose your property to the widest possible audience. Now, we talked about this briefly. It was the social media. Do they understand the power of social media to expose your property? More specifically, now, Rightmove and Zoopla are great, but quite frankly, any agent can slap your property onto online portals, and that's not what I'm talking about. Those are the active buyers out there. What are they doing specifically online to reach the inactive buyers out there? Because there are a lot of buyers that would buy a property that are not active given a visual stimulus. So what kinds of strategies are they applying for the inactive buyers out there? The second thing is, what local activities are they doing specifically for your property, or would they do for your property to get your property exposed to the local community? Number 3 is, what proactive approach are they applying for their database? Firstly, what kind of database do they have? Do they have access to other databases in other branches from their offices? Which is great to have that database, but if they're not proactively calling or doing other activities to actually expose that to that database, then it means nothing. Another thing is, do they share your property with other local professionals, national professionals, and even internationally? What do they specifically have? Who do they partner with? Do they partner with relocation agents, fellow agents, locally, nationally and internationally? This is something that's so important, and I see not many agents do. So this is something that you should be asking. And lastly, what kind of international exposure do they have? We've seen so many times, so many properties, especially lately, so many properties being sold to international buyers. What kind of exposure do they have? What kind of reach do they have internationally? So those are a few things I'm going to leave you with. If you have any further questions, or you need an accurate appraisal of your property, feel free to reach out to me. It's Danny Valencia with My City Nest. Feel free to get in touch. Thank you.